Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show, where we go across country and travel the world with members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. Let's go. So welcome, everyone. As you know, we love to do our shows here on Big Blend Radio with the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We do these shows every second Tuesday, Friday, and third Monday. And every second Tuesday, we love to go to the actual destination members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We call IFWTWA, easier to say. And today we're going to go back to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Yes, home to that very historic battlefield and really a very historic town and community, which is something we also like to share stories from both parts because they are one. You know, this battle happened within a town and a farming community. And we have Mary Grace Kauffman joining us from Destination Gettysburg. You can go to their website, destinationgettysburg.com. And we're excited because we're going to be celebrating America's 250th birthday with you, right, Mary Grace? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back. Yeah, we're very excited for the 250th.
Yeah, and we can celebrate this for a full year. And now we can do whatever we want.
As far as we're concerned, the birthday party has started.
Yes, why not? And we'll just keep going. And that means we get to have cake year round, all the way through 2027, right?
Yes, I'm someone who likes to celebrate their birthday all month long. So, for the 250th of the nation, I think it has to really be a year-long thing, which is what we have going on in Gettysburg.
Yeah, exactly. It's 250 years, so that means 25 cakes in 25 months.
Something like that.
Minimally. I'm all going for the cake, right? So what would you say is an American cake just to celebrate?
I feel like, I got to go red, white, and blue. Maybe something like blueberries and strawberries and vanilla frosting. I feel like that would be pretty patriotic.
Yeah, and you can have a vanilla cake with that, or we could go with a red velvet cake.
I love red velvet. It's so good.
See, I'm in trouble because I want to put carrot cake and everything, and it just doesn't quite work. But that's orange.
Making me hungry now.
I know. We didn't know we were going to start off with cake. Hey, so what about cake in Gettysburg? Where can we get a good cake? Because I know you got good pie there, too. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
People
we have a lot of restaurants.
Good pie, good ice cream?
Yes, and baked goods and cupcakes and that kind of thing. This past summer, we actually had a sweet stroll, a temporary trail that people could use to explore candy shops, chocolate shops, that kind of thing. And we're pretty sure we're going to be doing it again next summer. And so you check in on the trail on this digital passport. It's free to use. And as you visit these different businesses, then you can get points for free prizes. Like we had a sweet stroll apron and a t-shirt and fun things like that. So there's definitely a sweet side to Gettysburg.
Okay, see, we're covering the very important things, right? Right off the bat. Now, listen, I've got this photo from our interview last year because spring and Gettysburg, and when I was talking about, there's the battlefield, there's the community, but it's also a lot of farmland. And so I wanted to bring that up before we get into all the historic events happening. You've got new museums coming, a new railroad, like a railway activity attraction for people. So there's a lot to talk about, but this is something getting into spring since we're in February now. It's still cold, everybody, but we want those blossoms. When do the blossoms happen for people to know about?
It can vary from year to year, but our blossoms generally tend to see them around April. The battlefield, their peach orchard is actually usually that first sign of when you start to see the blossoms. They'll come a little earlier. It really depends on winter and everything, but we post a lot on our social media when the blossoms are starting to come. So that historic peach orchard on the battlefield generally starts to bloom first. And then we'll start to get the apple blossoms in the countryside, which you have in your background photo, that are beautiful white with little hints of pink. Those pop up like in the following weeks after that, maybe mid to late April. And it's like you said, we are so well known for our history, but I love to talk about our agriculture side too, because it's really a backbone of Adams County. We have so many amazing farms and markets, and we've become well known for being the #1 apple producing county in PA. And people love to go see the cherry blossoms in DC. They're stunning. But we have in Adams County the more country version with a lot less traffic.
Okay, so now, we say there's nothing like American as an American apple pie, right? That's a thing we could talk about also for America's 250th is apple pie. So when does your apple blossom season start? And then when do they typically come into fruit? Because I know it can change with the weather, but everyone's a little different depending where we are in the country.
Right. I'd say typically it could be early mid-April. You can see those apple blossoms coming in. We also have, I mean, we have apricots, we do have some cherry trees too, but the apples are really the dominant fruit that you see here. It's something about Adams County's the pH of the soil, the texture of the soil. It's hot when it's supposed to be, it's cold when it's supposed to be, and so this climate for decades, if not centuries, has just always lent itself very well to the apple industry.
And then when do they like give us the fruit so that we can make pie?
Well, I mean, gosh, there's like dozens of varieties of apples here. It depends what you're into, something more tart or something more sweet. A lot of our farms have come up with their own unique varieties too. Of course, they're going to have, the ones that everyone is looking for, like the golden delicious, the red delicious, the Granny Smiths, the honey crisp. But then, maybe you should try something different like a crimson crisp or a Jonagold or just like a Jonathan and a golden delicious. So we've got a lot of unique varieties out here. And some of the farms, they have like pies and things that they sell too from the local apples.
And do they do that year round? I mean, I used to live in an apple community and they would always celebrate apple harvest in the fall in October. However, sometimes the apples came out in July and you just didn't know when they were going to be ready, but there was always apple pie. And so we'd always have to say apple pie is year round, maybe not with the apples because that from the backyard because the apples aren't quite ready yet, but when they're ready, oh my gosh, there's nothing like a fresh apple off the tree. So
It's
good.
delicious. Ours, I remember last season, it was right around September 1st that they were getting picked. The farmers, they know people want them year round. We're talking about how chilly it is. It's nice to get something sweet this time of year when you're feeling cold. So a lot of the farmers, their markets, they have cold storage, so they still have those fresh apples from the last season so that you don't have to wait just till the fall to get your apples. So if you visit any of our markets, pretty much any time of year, some of them close for a couple weeks in the early winter. 90% of the year, you'll be able to get fresh fruit in Adams County.
This is very important. This discussion on fruit. We want to get our sweet tooth on for sure. Yeah, now we're hungry. Let's talk about activities so we can
Yes.
like really work up an appetite, okay?
Right.
So yeah, America's 250th, and we think about Gettysburg, such an iconic battle, right? And that's really January 1st to 3rd, typically that battle is
July
reenacted,
1,
right?
2, 3.
Okay, and the 4th, you're all going, all right, now what are we gonna have a parade? Like, what do you do on the 4th after the
So
battle
4th
reenactment?
the 4th is big for us too because the battle anniversary, July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, that it could fall during the week, it could fall during the weekend. And on those dates, Gettysburg National Military Park always has a lot going on, specifically coinciding with those historic dates, ranger walks and author talks. They'll take you across the battlefield and you can walk in the footsteps at the time the history was happening, over 160 years ago and say, this happened here. It's really cool. But then on the weekend, that's when the battle reenactment will happen at the Daniel Lady Farm, which is outside the park, but still a historic piece of land. And so this year, that happens to be coinciding with the 4th, so July 3rd, 5th. And then in addition to the battle reenactment, we always have a 4th of July celebration here with a lot of fireworks at our local rec park. There's live music, there's tons of food trucks. I went last year and it has gotten so big. I mean, hundreds of people there, bring your own chairs, bring blankets, and just it's kind of like small town 4th of July celebration. And but the fireworks are like big city level. I think they do a really good job with them.
That's cool. So that's the thing. And then there's just really getting out there and exploring and maybe taking a hike this year and go, you've got the covered bridge, you've got ghost walks. I mean, now do the ghost walks happen like all the time? Like,
They happen most of the year. I think some of them take a little break in the winter when it's super cold and they know it's a little less busy. But you don't have to wait till October to do a ghost tour downtown. We have amazing ghost tour companies offer a variety of tours. Some will do spirits and booze, that double entendre, and some will do take a bus into the countryside out to Sachs Bridge and do a haunted tour there, or take you to historic houses that they have access and permission to access. And you can stay there for hours into the late night and investigate with equipment and everything. Or you can just do a casual 45-minute, 1 hour walking tour downtown. And even if you don't encounter any ghosties, at the very least, you're getting a cool history tour at night.
yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about ghost tours is you're really getting the history of the people Because you're talking about the different those visitors that have not left us yet. They're like actually not visitors. They're just like, we're not going home yet. We're still staying here.
Right.
This is
And
our home. We're not ready to beam up on the other side. We're going to share our story. And I think it's just one of these other ways that history is accessible without it being a boring textbook. And I think
right. And
Gettysburg does it well, you
like
know?
everyone doesn't like to vacation the same way. Not everyone likes to experience Gettysburg the same way. So I think one thing we do really well is offering history in new ways. You can go on a horseback ride of the battlefield, which is, feels very old school, where you can sit in a saddle and think about, a cavalry soldier might have seen the same view that I'm seeing from their horse
Mm,
163 years ago, and go on these trails and see places of the battlefield that most visitors wouldn't get to see by car. Or, if you're looking for a really affordable, family friendly experience, you could do the horse drawn carriage ride, you could do a bus tour, or you can just drive in your own car. That's what's great. Some people don't realize that Gettysburg, unlike other national parks, we don't have any entrance fee. So you can
mm.
just roll up from dawn to dusk and explore the park at your own pace. And you're able to really get up close to places where that history was really made, where
Yeah.
soldiers fought and died here, and just stand where it all happened.
Yeah, you've got that beautiful drive. It's scenic too. It's so scenic. It's like it's hard to imagine like why would you want to war here? It's so beautiful.
It has
Yeah,
that juxtaposition of something so tragic happened here, but the Gettysburg that I see brings so much joy to so many people,
Mhm,
and we can see the beauty and the landscape of how well preserved it is here. Thanks
mhm.
to our friends at the Park Service and the Gettysburg Foundation, they're so dedicated to preserving these old buildings, to making sure the monuments are well taken care of, keeping the signs updated, so you can have that Gettysburg experience and you can do it yourself.
And I also, wanted to touch on the cyclorama because that's something that still bugs me that I've done interviews on it and I'm just mad that I haven't seen it yet.
I
And I
remember
just think
that.
I'm still mad. I'm still jealous. So you know what we need to do is get there and solve that. To me it's a good problem to have. It just to me and it kind of leads me to the railroad in a way, the new attraction you have as a different view, but you have all these different like you can walk in there, you can horse ride, you can, all these different ways, walking tours, bus tours, all these different ways to experience Gettysburg. But the cyclorama to me is a really, really a unique attraction where you can put yourself literally in that battlefield looking at this painting, right? That's just
Yes, and
amazing
and
history.
for those who don't know, the cyclorama is a 360-degree oil painting of the Battle of Gettysburg. I think it's at the Gettysburg Museum and Visitor Center, and it's from the 1880s. It's been restored meticulously. There's regular maintenance that goes on it. In addition to being a work of art, it's a really cool way to feel like you're stepping into the battle. And when you go see it as part of the visitor center experience, you're just in awe of how large this painting is. It's longer than a football field. It's several stories high. They will have dramatic narration playing that talks about what you're seeing in different parts of the painting light up, or they will shine light on it to make it seem like you can notice the smoke exploding from the cannon in this area, and it feels like the painting is coming to life. And I've heard the guides there say it's like IMAX before there was IMAX.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I think it is. Just really gets you that like, wow, this has all happened. And it's also an interesting family history story too. And I know a lot of people because it's the father and son who painted it, right, with other people working with them. But it's a father and son story. The Philippito
I
boy.
know I don't wanna mispronounce the it's a
I
French
I think
name.
I just did it, just mispronounced it, you know.
Yeah. His whole
But
team worked on it for quite a while, and there's so much detail, and I learned on one of my recent visits because I always even though I live here, I work here, I always learn something new when I go to visit, and I always encourage people, you can't just do one experience once. And I learned that the painter painted himself, into
that's right.
the art, and so if you go and ask, whoever's the guide that day, say like, "Hey, I heard the artist is," he'll take his laser pointer and show you where artist is in the painting.
That's
And
cool.
they do these evening with the paintings too, where you can get up close after like the regular visitor center hours, and you can really learn more details about it than the average person would get to see.
That's cool. With that being a family history story too, do you get a lot of people that come to Gettysburg to research their family history? I do know the answer to this, but I'm just I know the answer is
Thank you
yes.
for teeing that up for me. Yes, we have so many people. I mean, we had so many states that fought here, so many people from so many states that fought here, and it's not uncommon to, if you're visiting the battlefield or a local museum, someone will have some tie to the Battle of Gettysburg. They will say, like myself, I say my
Mhm.
however many, it's like 5 or 6 greats grandfather, his unit was here at the Battle of Gettysburg, and his name's on the Pennsylvania Monument. Or someone has an uncle or something. And what's cool is at the visitor center, there's actually a free resource room that you can request to use. And the Park Service subscribes to different things like ancestry.com and other sites like that. And you can research, and there's volunteers there to help you if you want to look up those things while you're here in Gettysburg. And even in the museum itself, there's these interactive displays that you can tap on. And so for me, I go and look for, okay, first Pennsylvania Cavalry. I want to see where they were during the battle, and I know that's my ancestors' unit. And then the map will zoom in and show me where they were, and I can go see, the monument marker that's out there.
Wow, that's so cool though, to be able to have that kind of connection. And I think that's part of when we think about the America 250, this is our 250th anniversary, is also to look at what is the history of our family in our country. It
Right.
does tell immigration stories, battle stories, war stories,
Mhm.
all kinds of stories. Definitely go and see your family, history there. Okay, so the main events, I know you're going to have events year round for America's 250.
Yes.
We know the 4th of July time, that's a big one.
Mhm.
And then you have more events?
Yes, so we've got a lot going on. Our community's really rallied around it. Our goal we've been shooting for is 250 events in 2026 for the 250th, which sounds ambitious, but we've got our local library putting things together. We've got we were talking about some of the farms and markets, putting a 250 spin, a patriotic spin on some of the annual events that they do.
Mhm.
Our local theater putting on a patriotic show. So everyone's really thinking about how can they get involved, from Gettysburg to the even smaller towns in Adams County. So some of the big ones that we have going on, we have in April, the Gettysburg Film Festival this year
Mm.
is going to have an American Revolution theme. And the well-known documentary filmmaker Ken Burns is the chair of that festival.
Oh,
He
wow.
just had his American Revolution documentary series come out. So that'll be a big part of the festival. That's April 2nd to 4th. So we're always excited to see Ken come back and be able to, tell his stories here. So that'll be in April. And yes, we talked about the battle anniversary. I believe it's the 163rd this year. The first week of July. You could block that whole week off really from the 1st through the 5th and a few days afterward because it's so busy here. You probably want to give yourself some extra time to experience it all. And really that if you've never been to the reenactment, it's as close as you get to seeing the history in person right before you. And these reenactors, they're not being paid to do this. They're doing this because they love it. They're actually spending a good bit of their money to have the
Mhm.
clothes that they do, the gear
Oh
that
my
they
gosh,
do.
yeah.
They practice, for safety, but also for the love of it. So that's it's something I definitely recommend seeing. And then what we're especially excited about too is then going into November when we were talking about, I think, how the rest of the country might be getting a little quieter. We're still going full steam ahead.
Mhm.
We are going to have a total recreation of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, November 18th and
Wow.
19th. And if you forget any of these dates, they're all on our website. We have a whole America 250th page, but we always do something for the Gettysburg Address every year. But this year's going to be different because we have a theatrical recreation going on. So there's going to be actors portraying Lincoln. We actually have Billy Campbell portraying Lincoln, and you'll see him arriving to Gettysburg, going to the David Wills house where he spent the night and finished writing the Gettysburg Address. And we're going to see the procession downtown where Lincoln goes to the National Cemetery where he delivers that address. I believe we're going to have the Edward Everett speaker there too, who was the guy that talked a really long time before Lincoln. It didn't
Mhm.
say half as profound of things that he ended up saying. And so
Wow.
it's going to be really like you're witnessing someone who's dressed like Lincoln, looks like Lincoln, delivering this and feeling like you're stepping back to 1863.
That's amazing. And then he went on a big train ride with his casket, you know?
Yeah.
That's true.
He spent quite a bit of time on trains, yes.
Well, I'm just
In
tying
life
that
and
into
death.
that you have a new train coming, so I'll
Yeah.
bring that up. Or we could get Johnny Cash to come and visit too. Hey,
Right?
that
Yeah.
I
We do
think
have we
that'd be
do have
cool.
a new train experience we're super excited about. Gettysburg Railway just opened this past summer. It's been a long time coming. Um, it's downtown. It's not at the Lincoln Station, although if you go to the Lincoln Station and look down the railroad tracks, you will see it. It's another historic station, just not quite as old as that one. And so it's downtown. It's near Gettysburg College. And it's about a 90-minute train ride altogether, really relaxing. It's a historic train. It's say 1950s era cars that got renovated to be modern and luxurious. So you have AC in the summer, you have heat in the winter, which is very nice. And they have a concession car and all that fun stuff. So the train goes from downtown through part of the first day's portion of the battlefield. I've been on it several times. You pass the Peace Light and some of the apple trees that are growing there, some really pretty historic barns,
Mm.
and then it takes you out into the countryside. It's more open. You'll get to a more wooded area, go over a creek. And as you're going along and seeing these sights, there's a narration playing overhead explaining what you're seeing. And so it's a really relaxing ride, goes up and back. So it takes you into the northern part of Adams County. And they've been coming up with all kinds of different themes and things. I know they had Santa over the holidays. They had some fun like haunted history going on around
Cool.
Halloween. I think they're doing some hot cocoa rides this January. So they're coming up with a lot of really fun themes because they want the experience to be something that you want to do again and again with your friends and
Yeah.
family.
Well, that to me, just going and not having to be the one driving or anything and just relaxing and soaking up the atmosphere to me is, I'll go round and around. I like things like that. I'm like one of those people who don't get off the ski lift. I'll just keep going round.
Yes, for me, the ski lift is part of the experience. You know, it's a ride in itself. I even like
Yeah,
an escalator.
yeah, me too. I do too. That's the way it is. This is exciting. So, and that sounds like a really cool family attraction too. So then that leads me to lodging. So people, as they're planning their visit, because I know it's going to be such a busy year for you, especially in summer, it's going to be a little hectic, right? So it sounds like people should start planning now. Make sure you get your lodging, whether it's a bed and breakfast or if they're camping, hotels, give everyone that makeup.
Yeah, so if you're trying to come here specifically during that first week in July, I would definitely recommend booking now. We have so many options. Get one of the great things about Gettysburg is even though we've become such a popular destination for visitors, we still have that small town feel. We still have small town prices. So we've got campgrounds, we've got hotels, motels, so many cute historic B&Bs that are incredibly unique, B's and inns. So whether you're someone that wants to stay downtown and be able to walk to as many things as possible, or you're someone who's like, I want to be a little bit outside of town where, there's going to be less foot traffic, less car traffic, and I have a little bit more peace and quiet. There are hotels just outside of town too. And there's also so many cute B&Bs in the surrounding towns. So you can kind of give yourself that space if you want that. It's nice how many different options that we have here, and it is very, I'd say, affordable for the average family.
Yeah, I know. I think the last time I talked to you, we were at George's on York and Tawny Town, not far.
That's
Beautiful
an
route.
example of like a great just
Mhm.
over the Maryland border. Some people don't realize. I mean, I think about
Yeah,
as the crow flies from Maryland. So staying in Maryland is totally an option. And, I know Frederick County has a lot of that Civil War history too, our neighbors to the south.
it's all connected. It is. And there's so many other battlefields. Like you could go and do a tour that like
Antietam, I mean,
Monocacy. Yeah, all of them, right?
right, Monocacy, yeah. And
I see. I still can't say it right.
there's so many, yes, it's difficult. And Tawny Town, some people say Taney Town, so I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
There's even arguments on how you say Gettysburg.
Okay, wow. Okay. And then the other part I want to say is I want to go stay in Eisenhower's house. Is that okay?
Well, you can visit Eisenhower's house.
But
It
I
would be
can't
really
stay
nice
there.
to stay there. It would be really nice. Yeah, I mean, people don't realize we love to talk about Lincoln. We love our Lincoln history. But President Eisenhower and his wife Mamie, they actually lived in Gettysburg. They were Gettysburg residents. This became where they were going to, well, he had finished his career as a general, the five-star general, D-Day general, and they get this house on this beautiful farm. They have Black Angus cattle, which are still there, and they're like, we're gonna relax here. And then Ike is like, well, I'm gonna run for president. So it became this tranquil retreat when he was not in DC. He was able to come here and relax. And then, of course, after the presidential years, this became where they lived out the rest of their days. And it's an active place to visit. Every September, they have World War II weekend, where that's almost like a reenactment in itself. They're not reenacting battles or anything, but it's living history. So you'll see dozens of people in uniforms representing the different allied countries, and they have tents set up. They have their equipment. They
Do
can
the
like
vehicles come?
Yeah, the
The
vehicles come. Oh yeah, I love they usually have some World War II veterans that they will drive around in Jeeps. And so it's a very active place that they want people to visit and enjoy. So even outside of those special events in the spring and summer, and a little bit into the fall, they have free house tours and you can walk the grounds anytime. And then December, they always do Christmas tours and they make it kind of 1950s Christmas like the Eisenhowers would have had.
Yeah, now I wanted to go in, but it was during COVID time when we were there. And I
Ah,
think it was like we could do things, but that part wasn't open where you're in a house.
right.
Like you can't go in. Um, I was like, dude, this is so cool. There's a rose garden. They obviously loved birds and nature
Mhm.
and golf. Because didn't he have like a little golf course
He
or
has a
something?
putting green there. So, like many presidents, Ike was a fan of golf, so there is a little putting green there. And I know for special events like the World War II weekend in September, they will have like a putter out and let kids try it, and some adults I think squeeze in there too. Yes, and
Me,
it has
I
and the flag has his 5 stars on it, which he was very proud of. So it's cool to see that preserved presidential history.
Yeah, and it's agricultural history too, because it was also a ranch and farm, But the other thing that I thought was interesting is that it was also a destination where he did a lot of his negotiations, where he was like, let's get
Mhm.
out of the city, let's get out of the hoorah of everything and just sit
Yes.
and for the guests, it was like everyone could come in at a relaxed way to actually connect in a better way, you know?
Yes, if I'm recalling correctly, I believe he hosted Churchill there and other foreign leaders. And it's interesting when you visit the inside of the house, the volunteers or the rangers will point out, "Oh, they got this from the president of this country or this piece from this ambassador." So there are while there's some recreated pieces in there, there's a lot of their original items as
Mm.
well, and they painstakingly restore them. The Eisenhowers wanted it to be a place that people could enjoy and experience that part of American history. So, it just keeps adding to the layers of everything we have going on here for the two.
Well, I love this because we're airing this right around, President's Day weekend. I know it's sometime around this time frame, so it's at least we're in the same month of it. How about that? So I love that. I love that we're doing that. So let's also go forward in the future here because right now it's African American History Month, right? And I believe that you have something coming up next year just to give people a little glimpse into 2027 of some history that people can maybe experience.
Yes, we're very excited. The Gettysburg Black History Museum is being built as we speak. It is going to be opening tentatively toward the end of 2027. It's going to be Gettysburg's first standalone Black History Museum completely devoted to that story. Gettysburg History and the Lincoln Cemetery Project Association are working together on that. Lincoln Cemetery is our historic Black cemetery, very close to where this house is. So the building right now is known as the Hopkins house. Jack and Julia Hopkins lived there. They were Civil War era family, a free Black family, raised their children there. Jack was a beloved custodian at Pennsylvania College, which we know today as Gettysburg College, and their house was a part of the community. It's a place that has so much history in it, especially as they've been working on restoring it. They're finding all kinds of artifacts constantly, and they're trying to save as much of the original building as they can. So the museum is going to have that original like log cabin look to it, and then they'll have an addition on it as well to, give themselves more space to be able to tell more of that story. And the building itself, Jack and Julie actually purchased it from Abraham Bryan, another well-known Black historic figure here, and he's believed to have been a conductor on the Underground Railroad. So really, there's a lot of layers of history to that museum, and we're really excited about it.
That is so cool, man. You guys are just doing more and more and more. 250 events in
2026, 250 events for America's birthday.
That's what we're
Wow.
shooting for. I mean, I really think you can't tell the story of America without Gettysburg
Oh, you
and
can't.
witness some of the most pivotal moments in history. And we're situated so nicely between, Philadelphia and DC. Philadelphia is going to get a lot of attention as they deserve. That's where the country was born. But then I say Gettysburg is where the country was saved. So go to Philly, go to Valley Forge, travel along and explore all these historic places. I have to plug too, there's going to be a Highway of Heroes that a lot of destinations are working on together that connects historic Pennsylvania sites from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, many of them national park sites. And so if you're looking for a road trip, that's going to be a great opportunity for you. You'll be able to
To do
go
with a
along
road
the
trip.
way and get challenge coins.
Oh, that's cool. We all went then, and that makes it a treasure hunt and gets the kids involved, and they're going to learn history, and so will we as the adults, from that. So that's really exciting for everyone. And I think even with all these events you're having, I mean, that includes like the ranger walks and talks and things like that, right? So it's totally doable, but I'm like, that is amazing. And you've got such a wonderful community too. And don't forget the ice cream while you're there. Just saying.
Yes.
That's
And if you're here in the summer, we should be having our sweet stroll again, and you can enjoy all those snacks we were talking about at the beginning.
Okay, I want one now. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary Grace, for joining us again. Everyone, again, go to destinationgettysburg.com. The link is in the episode notes, and we'll also put in the one just for the America 250 events that they're having linked in the episode notes. And of course, you can go to IFWTWA.org to learn more about the International Food Wine Travel Writers Association. We covered the food really well. Do you have wine? I know you've got to have
Yes,
wine.
we do. We got wine country and cider from all the apples.
So you got it all. Just go. All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show featuring members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We encourage you to visit their website. We say IFWTWA, which is IFWTWA.org. You can also follow us at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels, everyone!